Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Line on this Monday. Nick Barris here, along with Professor Thomas Schwartz from over at Vanderbilt. Good to have him on. He's always nice enough to join us. We're going to see him again between now and the presidential election. You see, we're talking the primaries right now and taking your calls. We had some folks waiting through the break. We lost one or two because it was a long break. I apologize for that, but you can call back in now. As usual, Professor, it goes to Trump, but it's not just about Trump. We can also talk about, what's happening tomorrow in Florida. Okay. And is it a done deal for Hillary yet?
It's close, although I think she's going to take some more hits in the Midwest. I do think they're worried that Bernie's going to win in Ohio and possibly even Illinois, and that will look bad. But I think in terms of just the delegate count, and in terms of her advantage with superdelegates, the appointed elected Democratic officials, it's likely, very likely, that she's going to win the nomination.
The way it stands. Of course, things can change in politics. Look, let's get back to the phone lines, and we're going to go now to Fergie. Hi, Fergie. Good morning.
Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
Good. What's on your mind?
Oh, well, you're talking about Donald Trump.
Sure. No, that's all right. You go for it.
Well, I think it's ironic. All these people fuss about the media coverage and everything, and yet that's where he gets most of his information is from the media. He calls the media liars, and yet he lies all the time. And I would like to say that if the media would just not let him talk for so long afterwards, because it'll take him 20 minutes to say that bad dudes are coming after us and that he's going to be so tough on them. If they would not just let him ramble on and on and on and cut some of his coverage, that might help, because he does get a lot of coverage.
Yeah, he does. It's funny because he will call the media names and say, oh, they're a dishonest bunch, but I have a few I like here. And bashing the media is easy to do. People get mad at the media, right? He knows how to play on that, but let's face it, he's got to, deep down behind closed doors, love the media.
No, it has been his advantage all the way from the beginning.
Starting with Megyn Kelly and all of that. When that took off there, and people were all fascinated, the way he called her out and all of that, for what I thought was a fair question. Come on. No. And boy, it just resonated. People, come on, bash, ISIS, bash the media.
Well, he also knows something about coverage in the sense that when he had a bad debate, one of the first things he does is the next day he gets Christie's endorsement, and what he's done is he understands the media cycle, news cycles, to minimize the negative and accentuate the appearance of strength.
Now, do you think some of this comes to him simply because, like you've said, he has a background in media because of his very successful, television show and everything else. He's got a knowledge and a background that some of these others don't.
Absolutely. No, I think he's brilliant. And the one thing I would describe him as brilliant is media exploitation.
Exactly. A lot of people say, oh, well, Trump couldn't pass an 8th grade civics test and all that. But when it comes to understanding the media, how to play it, the strategy and the decision-making that went in for him in this race, it really was brilliant. Yeah. And if you don't believe it, and you say, how dare you call him that if you're not a Trump supporter, how else do you explain what he's done? He's vanquished the biggest money holder in this race with the Bush name behind him, as if it was nothing.
Right. No, he's had a terrific understanding of the media and also, in a sense, of entertainment as politics. And, he's been able to generate coverage, generate press with his comments. And
not have to spend a lot of money.
And not have to spend much.
Yeah, which is to his advantage. I think most of us would agree when you hear a candidate say, I'm not taking big money from corporations or super PACs. I don't care who the candidate is, Republican, Democrat, or what. I like to hear that. I think it's great if if you can self-finance to some degree, or if you're taking it from the little guy. I don't like any candidate.
I think that's been a big part of his appeal.
Yes, I like that. Yeah. I think good for him. Yeah. All right, let's go next to Ethel. Hi, Ethel.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Good, Ethel. What's on your mind?
Well, I just have just a comment, and what I would like to say is, we as adults are supposed to be setting example for the younger generations. Now, I don't know whether it make any sense to you or not, but it do to me. We must listen to learn, and to learn we must listen. And the younger generation, they're listening and they're learning violence from Donald Trump. And I wish the people would stop lying, saying that Obama created Trump. God created him. And when I look at Donald Trump's rallies, I see a lot of lost souls, and all of them need to stop one thing. They start talking about what somebody done before. We can't live the past in the present and expect a better future. And when I read the Bible about John the Baptist, he was a forerunner for Christ. He paved the way for Christ. Trump is just the opposite. He's paving the way for Satan.
Well, listen, I want to hit on a point that she touched on there with regard to what the young people are, or what examples being set here, which I don't worry so much about that, but I'm curious if, however things play out for Donald Trump, politicians, to come are watching this campaign. And I wonder if they're going to take some of that from Trump, and future campaigns, whichever party, the civility level has just been lowered a bit more. But they're going to look at it and say, it worked for Trump. If I can get the right template. The reason it hasn't worked for the other Republicans, I'm guessing, is because, well, Trump did it first, and they're kind of copying, and no one's going to buy it because they weren't doing it from the beginning. They're just shifting gears. Trump, people think, is the real deal. Do you think this is going to change politics down the road now?
Actually, I take issue with you a little bit in that I think part of it is Trump's persona was with these insults. So when Marco Rubio tried to do it, it didn't look like his persona.
Okay.
It wasn't who he
hadn't
was.
been doing it.
He had not been doing it. So what I do think it might pave the way for is future entertainment or celebrity type figures
Candidates
coming in.
like Trump.
Yeah, the Kanye West vision of coming into politics because you're a celebrity and then campaigning in that way. Celebrity candidates, I think, might become more common than we've seen in the past, and that might be where Trump's legacy is.
You know what? You just may be right. So you think it's that strong for Trump? Because I wonder why we haven't seen more celebrity candidates, the ones that typically have. Now, Ronald Reagan was a movie star. Wasn't a huge star, but that probably helped.
And
but
he was governor, and he followed a conventional
and he was
route.
media savvy because of that. But like Arnold Schwarzenegger is the great other example I can think of, who would not have been governor of California if he was not the Terminator.
Right.
End of story. But people there love the idea. Jesse Ventura, maybe to some degree in Minnesota. Again, it's both Republican, Democrat side of things. So really, the celebrity.
The celebrity as a figure of politics.
What is it with this country? I mean, do you not know that celebrity is a persona that's out there? It's not the real person?
No, I think people sometimes confuse that. And celebrities are smart enough often to take advantage of that confusion.
Boy. All right, let's go to Lucy. Lucy, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey, well, as somebody whose ancestors had a wall put up to keep them out, I've always been taught to remember our history. I'm talking about the Wall of Hadrian in England. But anyway, and then they perpetuated their genocide against my ancestors. And there's not many of us true, quote-unquote, rednecks left. But I think there's more than one right, other than the right to bear arms. I'm a firm believer in the First Amendment. The First Amendment to me is like my Bible. And the First Amendment to me in a democratic society is to protect me. Now, I hear all these people going off on the mainstream media or whatever they call it, but by the same token, they have their so-called media over to the far right. People have forgotten their histories. It was George H.W. Bush, who overturned the fair and balanced provision that the Supreme Court had put in to protect us from ourselves, and that was in 1989. So you don't really hear either side. You don't have to present either side. So basically, media is following what the law is, and he overturned that by executive privilege. So we get the leaders we ask for, and if we don't have the media out there to show us this stuff, then it's our problem. And speaking of the media, back in the 80s, Ronald Reagan dismissed the press constantly. He abused them over and over. He refused, and when he did not talk to the media to get questions I wanted to answer, as far as I was concerned as a citizen, the media is there to get answers from me because you're going to shut me out because I'm just the average Joe. So, you look at the double speak of all of this. Ronald Reagan told the people that the reason you're not having jobs is because you're in a union. Get rid of your unions because these jobs are going away. At the same time, that his administration were exporting jobs to Korea, and the guy making the most money off of those exported jobs was the Reverend Moon. And the Reverend Moon bought the same paper that Rush Limbaugh, the voice of the Republican Party, reads from still to this day every morning. So
The Washington Times, right?
yeah, I think it's Times. So
Okay, hang tight on that because we've got to go to a break on that. But just, you want to comment real quickly on this? I didn't want to cut her off, but we're going to go to the break. But give you,
Well, there has been, I mean, the fact that we do have now a different media environment, an environment in which people can be, in some ways, segmented. That you can listen to your own media and reinforce your prejudices. In a way, that was may have been an inadvertent consequence of the change in media laws and the fact that you don't have the traditional networks which used to provide coverage and sort of stand as sort of fair and objective, and that people got their news from the same places. So in a way, there's been an increasing, some of the polarization that's taken place certainly has something to do with the media environment in which people can reinforce their prejudices by listening to only one side.
I agree, and she makes a point, and that was getting rid of the fairness doctrine and the equal time and all that. But on the other hand, aside from that, and I thought the fairness doctrine was right, in the older days, there were far fewer media outlets. Now, at least, there is a whole marketplace of a ton of stuff out there. So there's something out there for you. You just need to find it, meaning that if you want both sides of it, there are objective news organizations out there that do a good job. If you want a certain slant, there are programs out there for both sides. So we'll take a break on that note. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get more of your calls right after this.